Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to talk about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. It's insolvent. So there's no money. So I'm asking myself, how is there no money? I know this government overspends. They have that reputation for overspending because these people, seriously, they don't know how to manage money. No matter how much they claim they can, they really can't. And I believe they've been stealing a lot of money. They've been stealing money since they came up with these political parties and everything. It goes way back. It didn't just start now. And we know Donald Trump is robbing the place blind. So, how is it that everybody is taking this out of their paycheck? It's taken out and the money is not there. It makes no sense. It makes no sense because I believe a lot of the money was stolen. And Donald Trump gave rich people a tax cut from his big, beautiful bill. If you knew there was not enough in Social Security, they should never have gotten that tax cut. So it's a mess. When Donald Trump first took office in 2025, Donald Trump in his administration, I believe they said it was 15 years left in Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. 15 years. Well, this year, y'all, it went from 15 years to just 5 years. Now, why such a dramatic change in a year? Because the money's being stolen. They don't care about us at the end of the day. And what this also does, I want y'all to think about this. This is going to force people to work all the way through their elder years. And if you really think about it, we saw this coming. And what I mean by that was when Elon was still there, he was coming all out in the media when he was still doing Doge, talking about Social Security as a scam. No, it's not a scam. People are paying into that. That's not a scam. But now I understand why he was doing that. They want to pull Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid so that it forces people. We're going to be elderly people working all the way through until the day we leave this planet. And that's the way they want it, y'all. They want all of us working in our 70s and 80s. And even if you got a pulse, your 90s, they want you working. And that's yours. That's all day for me. Mm-hmm. And y'all, a lot of people are not going to be able to survive that. And then you got to think about the people that are on disability. I got family members that are on disability. So what happens to those folks if the money runs out? There's a lot of children that are on disability. What's going to happen to them? But that's really the goal, y'all. They don't want us to ever rest. We are supposed to work until we see the graveyard. And that's what Elon was hinting at back when he was there talking about, because he was talking negatively all the time in the media. If you go back and look, he was talking very negatively about Social Security. And he almost tried to make it seem like it was an inconvenience. It's not an inconvenience to the people that get it. And who the hell cares what some rich guy think of Social Security? He need to go somewhere. He ain't even a damn citizen. Your ass is an immigrant from South Africa. I really don't want to hear what he got to say about anything. So y'all, here we are. And just know this is a warning shot. So they're estimating around 2032 that Social Security will be gone. So, my brothers and sisters, are you prepared to work until you are gone from this earth? Because they're dropping hints right now. You're not going to make it unless you work, if Social Security is not around. So you're not going to make it unless we work. That is really jacked up. That is, y'all, it is unbelievable what these folks that have been running things have done to us. They have literally screwed over the entire earth. They have screwed over the whole planet. And see, when this place finally crashes, they're going to get blamed for everything. And they're not going to be able to handle it. They're not going to be able to handle it at all. So y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. How the hell can a country like America be insolvent? Yeah, because we got people like Donald Trump in the government. But he tries to make it seem like DEI, the melanated people, are the main problem in the government. No, it's men like him that are sitting there robbing the place. And not to mention, y'all, I don't know if y'all heard all of the slave monuments and all the stuff they took down. There is a judge that ruled and said they got to put everything back that they took down. All of the slavery exhibits and the monuments that were dedicated to Black soldiers, they got to put all of it back. The judge said that is all history, whether you like that history or not. That is all history and it must go back. Thank you.
You guys all know there's a trust fund that has been set up that money goes into, and that funds Social Security. Well, the question and the debate for years has been the insolvency, like it's going to be insolvent in a certain number of years. Prior to the passing of the big, beautiful bill, it was about 15 years. There was about 15 years of solvency in the trust fund. Thanks to the big, beautiful bill, the Congressional Budget Office, and the Congressional Budget Office, by the way, the CBO, is nonpartisan. They are not Democrat. They are not Republican. Their job is to look at the effects of legislation and what effects it's going to have on the congressional budget. And they have said that the big, beautiful bill has cut more than 10 years off of the Social Security Trust Fund solvency plan. That's right. In just 5 years now, Social Security will be insolvent, will not be able to pay Social Security payments. So all of these people who have worked their whole life, who have put money in, paid money into Social Security, because of the big, beautiful bill, now we're looking at it being insolvent, not able to pay Social Security 10 years sooner. Tell me again what a great businessman he is and how he's really taking care of our financial well-being. So many people are still clinging to that, and they're overlooking many things, including, how many times your name might be in the list. But this is what his policies create. They create crisis on every front. And now Social Security insolvency is coming way sooner than even was previously predicted, which, by the way, was already going to be a catastrophe. Now we just have to face it a lot sooner. Go love your neighbor.
Yes, let me back up. That is $157 trillion with a T. About a third of that is Social Security and 2/3 is Medicare. It would push the debt held by the public, which was 40% of GDP during most of the post-war period, 100% of the economy today, up to 240% of the economy in 30 years.
So House Speaker Mike Johnson said that America's problem is our autopilot spending on programs such as Medicare, Medicaid, and dig this, Social Security. He referred to these payments as entitlements. Now, last I checked, Social Security is coming out of my check. I want that back. That's supposed to be my money waiting for me for when I'm unable to work. So how is that an entitlement when I'm putting money, or rather having money taken from me before I even cash my check? But now you want to tell me that is an entitlement? Yeah, it is an entitlement, because I'm entitled to have that because that shit is mine. So he says that they have plans as of next year to make adjustments. Now understand, that means cuts. That means cuts. That's all that is. They're going to cut people's money when they know for a fact that the way
That's the excuse they're giving, y'all, to justify giving rich people our Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare money. That's where it went. That's why we went from having 15 years worth of Social Security down to 5 years, because Donald Trump gave all that money to his rich friends. So now they're trying to make it seem like Social Security is some burden. Oh, we shouldn't want it because it's this, it's that. No, you deducted this money out of our paychecks, and for many of us, for many years. You don't give that to your rich buddies. Screw them. I don't care about them. We paid into it. It ain't no luxury. It ain't no inconvenience. You ain't giving us nothing. We paid into it. So it's not an entitlement. We literally funded Social Security through our paychecks. So I don't care what Donald Trump and his administration pretty much are saying, yes, there's only 5 years left. And you know what, y'all? They're not going to do nothing about it. In order for something to be done, you're going to have to get rid of Donald Trump and his administration, and whatever the next one that comes in, they would have to do something to fix it. But Donald Trump, they already said they're not going to do nothing about it. And remember, during the war, he said there was cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Why? Why did you take from there? Why didn't you look at another source to take the money? Because that he kept saying, oh, we can't pay for childcare, we can't pay Social Security, we got a war going on. So this is their way of prepping us for what's to come. That's why all that stuff is being said in the media. They're prepping us because that money ain't going to be there, and our old tired asses are going to have to keep working. Just imagine, some of y'all are young. You might be in your 30s and 40s. Can you imagine reaching your 70s and 80s and you still got to get out of your bed and go to work because there is no more Social Security left, that's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. All right, let's go on.
The economy is and has been skyrocketing, showing no signs of ever coming back down, that will require people to need more money, not less of it. So if you're going to be taking Social Security from people who are elderly and unable to work, that just lets you know right then and there, they don't ever want you to retire. They want you to work and leave that company or that job that you're at and just go get in the casket. That's what they want. And if you unable to just croak, starve, go be homeless. These people are wicked. And here's the thing, America. This is an America issue. This is them further proving that while we are out here arguing over race, arguing over bullshit, they don't care about none of us. So to you white nationalists, racists, they don't give a shit about you neither. Black people, we've been there, they ain't give a crap about us, so it ain't nothing new. It's just another day in America for us. But for every other race of people that come here, not really understanding how this country really works, they want everybody messed up. They don't care about nobody. Either you have it or you don't. And if you don't, then it sucks to be you. Mike Johnson, let's try this. Before you decide to make cuts on the citizens whose monies this is, because at the end of the day, the biggest issue isn't the money that we're getting back that we've paid into the system. The biggest issue is how you take our money that's we're paying into and send it overseas, buying weapons to give to other nations and just jacking off our money. And then when it's time for us to need the money, you want to tell us what you don't have, but then you'll pull 400 million, 400 billion to go send to another nation. You'll have a president that says that he wants an underground, well, however much he wants for this ballroom, that's taxpayers' dollars. But they want to cut Social Security. America, wake up. This isn't a race issue that we're dealing with. Yes, racism exists. I would be a fool to say it doesn't. But the greater fools are those who are racist, thinking somehow that this government actually gives a fuck about them, because they don't. Everybody needs to be coming together. Period. I don't care. Set differences aside. Because if there are any cuts that should be coming, Congress, why don't you guys take pay cuts? Oh, I'm sorry. In order for you guys to get a pay cut, y'all got to vote on that to cut your own pay. We have no say-so in that. You guys vote to give yourself raises. You guys vote to give yourself pay cuts. And it's funny how you never do the latter, but you always want to come and take from us. Peace and blessing.
And then we're going to lead up to what we have to do and address the largest spending items. The reason we're in trouble is because over 74% of federal spending is on autopilot, mandatory spending. That's your entitlement programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and then things like Social Security. They have to be adjusted and fixed. We have a plan to do that next year, and it's critical because we're at 40 trillion plus.
All right, Trumpers, I'm sweating. I look like shit, but I did get my seat covers put on. But let's get into it. So Speaker Mike Johnson and Donald Trump has come out and said, and I'll put the clip in my story, that there's going to be some big cuts coming to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security coming in next year, 1 year, next year. And that they need to make some major cuts because that is like a $4 trillion situation between Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and some other government benefits that they got to make some big choices and some big decisions, and we've got to cut some stuff coming up next year. I'm not for sure why we're cutting the stuff for the American people. Why don't we just quit taking so many trips on Air Force One? Better yet, why don't we quit with the ballroom? Why don't we shut that $200 billion project down? Or better yet, quit going around spending hundreds of millions to put our names on the Kennedy Center, which now is coming off. How about draining the lake right there in front of the White House, the Lincoln Memorial, because he wants blue water like the Caribbeans. They move to the Caribbeans. Like, don't take this stuff away from the American people. But it goes to show you again, Donald Trump ran and got into office for his own self and not you. I'll put the clip in my stories. Trumpers, come and get me. Seat covers look good.
So if you didn't hear, Speaker Mike Johnson telegraphed the devilment that they're about to do. You already know that that's how this administration operates, is they float an idea while also distracting you with other bullshit, but they'll float out an idea. More often than not, they would prefer Donald Trump to be quiet, but he can't. He has to speak his stream of consciousness. He's so impulsive that they just can't get him to shut up. That's why they kind of shuffle on their feet when he's talking, because they don't know what's going to come out of his mouth. And he's very, very prone to saying stuff that they don't want him to say. But Speaker Mike Johnson yesterday telegraphed the move that they're going to be making on Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. I quote, "The largest spending items. The reason we are in trouble is because over 74% of federal spending is on autopilot, mandatory spending. That is your entitlement programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and things like Social Security. They have to be adjusted and fixed. We have a plan to do that next year, and it's critical because we're at a 40 trillion plus in debt. At some point, you get into a hole so deep you can't climb out of it. So desperate times call for desperate measures." Mind you, these are the same people that added about 5 trillion or 4 trillion to the national debt with the one big beautiful bill that primarily benefited the most highest earning Americans and certain business sectors. They had about 5.3 trillion in massive tax cuts, and it benefited the highest earners in the United States. Those were the people that gave them the donations. You know, the corporate donor class, the PACs, yeah, them. But also, let's not forget the 156 billion for the Department of Defense. So defense spending was at that level on top of the 899 billion they already had, bringing the total to 1 trillion. And none of that was offset by raising taxes. It was all deficit spending. So the one big beautiful bill added 3.4 trillion to the national debt. And in order to do it, they raised the debt ceiling by 5 trillion. There have been 78 debt ceiling increases since 1960. And in 1960, the national debt was about 268 or 278 billion. It's 40 trillion now. So the American people who already had health care cut last year and had government shutdowns fighting about it, and the Democrats gave in and a ton of people lost their medical care. We're already paying higher than ever groceries, higher than ever gas prices. We've got a housing crisis where people can't afford the places that they live, and more people are hitting the streets, which they are criminalizing. I mean, you got to have some reason for the detention centers to be occupied, right? So coming attractions, cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. They call them entitlement programs. Entitled, yeah, because we pay for it. I don't know about you, but ever since my little first job at, what was my first job? At the Oriental Theater, or was it Burger King? Whatever it was, they took Social Security taxes out of my check. So that means that I've been paying in since I was 13 years old, which would be 50 years. And you gonna cut? They were saying there's projections that they were gonna cut benefits about $486 a month. Some people only get checks of $1,000 a month. So who could live off of $500 a month? Now they may do other things like, raise the retirement age. So right now it's 67. They may go up even higher, which means you'd have to work longer to get your full benefit. But I just want to remind you that these are the guys that literally just passed the largest healthcare cut in history, and they're going back for more. Higher cost, less healthcare. This is what you get when you let a bankrupt businessman. How many times did he bankrupt a business? Did he ever run a successful business?
Never.
Isn't the White House job his most successful business now that he's ever run? All the pay to play. You donate to my campaign. You help me fund a ballroom. You help me fund a crypto business. You help me fund a golf course here. That in exchange, you get what? Everything you wanted. And the American people get effed with no Vaseline. It's bold and brazen now. They don't even try to hide it. They feel like they got so much power that they can do anything they want, that you could even speak this to existence even before people have a chance to vote on you. That's how assured they are that they're going to get this done. We have been amazingly tolerant of this thing that should have caused a constitutional crisis a long time ago. You remember all them times that they talked about constitutional crisis? It's almost as if the Constitution never really existed. No checks and no balances, just straight up corruption. And y'all get out there with costumes and signs every few months and have a good time, a festival, a music festival, when they should be run out of Dodge. But it ain't painful enough yet. I guess people will take to the streets when they get put out on the streets. Okay. Dress warm.
I have some slightly good news, but also some bad news about the future of Social Security. And this is going to impact every single American citizen watching this video right now. So you may want to pay attention. Let's start with the good-ish news. According to the latest report released from the Social Security trustees, things haven't technically gotten worse for Social Security since last year, but they're not great and certainly not getting better. I told you it was only good-ish news. And the bad news is, according to the annual financial status report for the Social Security Trust Fund, which is the pot of money that helps fund Social Security for more than 70 million Americans, by 2032, Social Security will become insolvent. Now, before you panic, that does not mean you're going to get zero. That means this report is estimating in 2032, Social Security recipients will receive 22% less in their Social Security check than beneficiaries who are receiving Social Security today. So basically, there's not going to be enough money in the fund, so they have to reduce payments for everyone. But why? Well, there are a whole host of reasons why, which we're going to get into in this video, but also I'm sure you're wondering, what will that look like for me? I'm glad you asked, because a government watchdog group who tracks this stuff put together a handy little interactive map which shows you exactly how much less you would see in your Social Security check in just 6 years. We'll get into that too in this video. But before we do any of that, I want to thank my paid Facts HQ subscribers for overwhelmingly voting for this story as the bonus this week. If you want to vote on next week's bonus story and get some other cool perks from me, make sure you follow these easy steps and you become a paid subscriber. It is because of my amazing Facts HQ subscribers that I'm able to continue to bring you reports like this every single day. Without them, my channel would literally disappear. So if you want to support my work, and of course, only if you can, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Okay, so let's start with a quick, simple explanation for how Social Security works. Obviously, it's way more complicated than this, but in a nutshell, Social Security receives money from your paycheck and everyone else's paycheck in this country. But that's not enough to cover everyone who qualifies for the program. So the Social Security Trust Fund was created to supplement those payments. But
Seriously, y'all, they don't give a shit about us. They don't care about us. Who can live on less with all this inflation going on? Some people got Social Security and they're barely making it. All right. So now you expect them to go 22% less. But eventually, y'all, because you can tell by the way Donald Trump be talking, oh, we got to cut into Social Security, you can tell by the way they're talking, they want to completely do away with the whole thing. And like I said, it started with Elon, with Doge. That's where it began. And Donald Trump spoke about cuts through the Iran war. And now it's coming up again. It's too many hints being dropped. They want it gone. These rich people want to suck up whatever money is there. And then we get out there and work. while their old dried up raisin looking asses get to stay home. So, y'all, this is a tragedy. And it just goes to show you some people on this earth, I don't care how much you want to lead and be in charge. If the shoe just don't fit, it just don't fit. All right. If you were the best at leading, you should not have an insolvent country. You should not have an insolvent Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. The fact that you got a country that technically with no money, no, you don't look brilliant. And it tells me all y'all know how to do is corrupt and mismanage everything, but you are not leaders. I've been saying this for years. I saw it when I was still getting up every day going to work. These people, I don't care how much they want to be the head of the class, that's not where they belong. They are not leaders. They have never been leaders. They never, and their history of leading over in Europe is horrible. It's horrible. There is no good example. Seriously, there's no good example when you go back and look at their history. So you can't expect to see a good example over here in America under the same people. It's not going to happen. Tiki, thank you so much for the super sticker and your support for my channel. I deeply appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, no, technically we never needed them, y'all. We have never needed them. That's why they got to keep forcing us at the bottom, because even they know we don't belong on no bottom. That's why it's a forced act. So anyway, y'all, and that ain't gonna work but so long. Even that got an expiration date because they're not reproducing, they're not growing as a people. So as their numbers continue to dwindle, they're not going to be able to control anything, y'all. Everything's going to spiral out of control. And when it does, this is my guess. When they realize they're no longer in charge anymore, they're going to beg to be in charge. You watch. I know what I'm telling you. They're going to beg to be in charge. I know what I'm talking about. You watch. As soon as they realize they have no more power, they're not the ones in charge anymore, and they feel that switch has happened, because they will feel it, they are going to be pleading with everybody to let them have another chance. Hell no. Hell no. I put my vote in right now. I'm putting my vote in right now. Hell no. Hell no. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. My next live is at 1:45, so I will see you then. Have a wonderful afternoon. And don't forget to pick up your hair products. Shalom, family.